Back to March 1983 when the group was formed following the purchase by enthusiasts of the Microbee computer, which was released by Applied Technology in February 1982. This followed the issue of the Your Computer magazine of that month, which appeared with the following cover, unveiling the Applied Technology B with the owner's 32-page manual as a lift-out inside. This was a first for any computer. To be able to digest everything about it before buying it, it was unique, and at $3.99 was one of the best buys probably of 1982. The manual was full of every kind of information about the Microbee, starting with a description of the features, battery backed up memory, a massive 16K basic in ROM, 33 error messages from basic, and standard features which were extras on a TRS-80 or Apple computer. On the following pages were more technical details of the Microbee, even down to a photo of the inside of the box, how to set it up, how to operate it, followed by a description of Microworld Level 2 basic commands. Then for the technically minded, there was a description of how every chip on the Microbee worked and what its purpose was, unheard of before 1982 and not heard of since. Then followed a circuit diagram of the Bee. Try getting one of these for an IBM. A complete list of Microworld basic commands, functions and keywords with a condensed basic manual and some basic programs. Then on the last page was an order form for the Bee. $399 for the Microbee, $129.50 for a 12-inch monitor, $35 for a cassette recorder, and $120 for an additional 16K of RAM. So you filled it out, sent it in with your money, and waited, and waited, and waited. Such was the demand for the Microbee. The first 3 months supply sold in 1 week. Mine took 3 months to arrive and I was customer number 170. Finally the kit arrived as a box of components to be assembled and soldered and put together. The manual supplied with it made this easy, with planned steps and tests as you went along. So that one section was built and tested before you went to the next section. In all, it took about 12 working hours to build. With first the IC sockets and plugs been going in, followed by the passive components, and then the ICs. This was the completed motherboard, onto which went a core board containing the memory and the backup system. This is what the original kit Microbee looked like, with a metal chassis and a none too solid case, or maybe it should be called a cover, over the top. It came with a 12 volt power pack and used a standard cassette player to input the basic programs. The second version of the Microbee used the same mother and core board, and now the new Microbee case, and it came fully assembled. I think only the first 300 were in kit form. Following the 16K came a 32K, again the same motherboard with a different core memory board. Many of these were used in schools as network slows with a modified board inserted. The next unit that came was a 64K, again using the same core board, the same motherboard with a different core board. This was the mainstay of the Microbees for nearly 2 years. The 64K came with a disk system. This was another modified version of it, the StarNet Master Station. Again mainly used in schools as the controller station on the Microbee StarNet system, with up to 16 slaves running in a network, which they called the StarNet. Following this was the PC85, a ROM-based machine with word processing basic, a calculator, telecommunications and a monitor program installed inside in ROMs. Microbee now is a disk-based system. As well as Microbee's own online magazine, regular columns were appearing in Your Computer, and Microbee programming books were coming out in many varieties: assembly language, basic, WordStar, multiplan, editor assembler, learning discs, Turbo Pascal, and the Wildcard series of books containing many basic programs. The next computer was the 128K standard model, with the addition of either 5¼ or 3½ 400K drives and 128K of memory, They were available in a standard and premium series. This premium series had an additional 4 cursor keys fitted to the keyboard, the first different look to the Microbee since its inception. This was a 128K standard system with 5 1/4 drives. And the Microbee 7030 colour monitor. Then came the 128K Premium series. It's had twin 3.5 inch drives, and again with the 7030 colour monitor. In the Premium series, the colour board was built onto the main motherboard, and this was a completely revamped motherboard, different from all the other Microbee's motherboards. Microbee's foray into the world of IBM came with the release of a portable IBM clone made by Mitac. This was an XT portable with a built-in 5 1/4 360K drive, parallel serial ports, colour CGA output, and a second 5 1/4 drive optional, teamed with a Microbee 7030 CGA monitor. The continuing 64K now came out in probably the most popular computer built by Microbee, the computer in a book. This book end contained a 3.5 inch drive and a power supply and stood upright. An additional drive was available for it in the same standard format, which just simply hooked daisy chain fashion to the existing drive. This 1985 lift out again from Your Computer magazine show the variety of computers, printers and accessories available for the Microbee. A list of programs, this 1986 A to Z of Microbee calendar gives description of over 120 computing terms and helped to make its readers computer literate with its explanations. This together with some 1986 flyers for some printers, computers, and still the computer in a book. The last computer shown, sadly yet to be seen, was the much vaunted Gamma. An ambitious design with multiple processors, 68,000, Z80 and 8086, running CPM Unix, Apple DOS and MS-DOS. An article in 1986 Your Computer magazine with descriptions of the gamma, and to a lesser extent the delta. Whilst Microbee went about its business of producing microbees, the user groups were being formed to support themselves. One of the first was SMUG, or as it was first known, Northside Microbee Users Group. With the Northbug newsletter of March 1983 looking for a name for itself, some suggestions were the Sting, the Honeypot, or the Beehive. For the next issue in April 1983, the newsletter was the Beeline, and the group had 25 members. And Northbug in the name had become a misnomer. At the April meeting, a committee was elected, and Colin Tringham was elected president, Tony Williams secretary, Keith Ackroyd vice president, Steve Fane treasurer, Jason Johnson editor, and Lawrence Gold property manager. Membership was now 35, and a discussion on a name change to the Sydney Microbee User Group was held over. By September 1986, the firmly established Beeline had grown to 20 pages, with pages by the editor, reviews on the NICE modem, an introduction to Pascal, and the data flow accounting system, and features including a BBS listing, Microworld basic character set, Microbee programming, C programming, and other Microbee programming was a continuing feature by one of the club's most prolific contributors of programming knowledge, Harry Purvis, whose help to program writers was most appreciated. The Beeline was a major source of basic programs, and Maze Builder by Ian Johnson was an example of what could be achieved on the Bee. Of course, typing the program in and then finding your typing errors was half the fun, particularly if the program didn't work. The review of the data flow accounting system was a good attempt at an accounting package, according to the review, but failed the general purpose test and lack of control auditing functions. A partly functional, not a general purpose integrated package, an honest appraisal and review. On the back page is the general order form for the user group sales, with 5 1/4 360k discs at $19 a box and $23 a box for DSDDs. 3.5 inch discs, I think they were 400k's, were $50 a box. Smug and public domain discs, 5 1/4 $10 and 3.5 $15. Wonder how these prices compare with. To be continued, I hope.